Hi everyone, welcome to the St. Augustine Lighthouse and Maritime Museum's Ask an Expert series. My name is Barb Holland. I am the collections manager for the Lighthouse, and I'm going to be answering your questions about exhibit preparation. So an exhibit preparator is someone who takes care of the exhibits as well as helps with the design and building of said exhibits. So this is one of those jobs where you can have on-the-job training or a degree. Many exhibit preparators have an art and design degree because what goes into the technical aspects that go into exhibit preparation are, design and aesthetics, that kind of thing. You could also have a degree in public history. One of the jobs of the exhibit preparator and the exhibit designer is to make you feel something, not just, hey, here's an object in a box and here's a story that goes along with it, but to place you into the story and give you the feeling of really connecting with that story. Many of the objects that we have on display at the Lighthouse are owned by us. However, I'm going to go back to the wrecked exhibit. Many of those objects, in fact, I would say 95% of those objects are on loan to us from the state. So everything that our archaeological department brings up is through a permit with the state of Florida. We also have certain items on loan from independent donors. For example, in the keeper's office, there's a lock that was actually donated by Cracker Daniel. The text that's written next to each object is actually written by our exhibit preparator. Depends on the exhibit that we're creating. So in 2002, when we were first building our Coast Guard collection, we sought out the objects. Now that we are again doing a Coast Guard exhibit, we have all of those objects in our collection. We may ask for certain materials, or we may ask for oral histories, but for the most part, we have these objects in our collection. This is a huge fear of mine, breaking something while you're putting it in an exhibit. You're working with objects that are hundreds of years old, or some objects are only, 50 years old. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the age of the object. The fear is real about breaking something when you put it on exhibit. And what happens is a lot of paperwork, a lot of disappointed looks from your boss. This doesn't happen to me, by the way, but you get a lot of disappointed looks. You have a lot of paperwork to fill out. If this is something that's on loan to you, you're in even more trouble. But you can have a conservator look at it and repair it. Or if it's unrepairable, you put it on exhibit and that becomes part of the story. So by those things, I assume that you're talking about our environmental monitors, which do exactly what it sounds like. They monitor the environment. It helps us make sure that the cases are maintaining a certain temperature and a certain humidity. So the maintenance that we do on exhibits, very similar to the maintenance that you do in your house. So we dust the cases, vacuum the floors, make sure that all of the smudges and fingerprints are off of the plexiglass cases. This is my little PSA to say, please don't touch plexiglass cases in museums. It's very frustrating. We also monitor for changes in the look of the objects. So for example, we have a cannon on display in the wrecked exhibit, and we are always looking for rust spots. And when we find those spots, our conservators go in and do touch-ups. So I'm pretty sure that this came from one of my family members because they are constantly teasing me about not being able to touch things in a museum. And the reason being is this right here. Do you see those oils on your hands? Those oils cause damage to items. So let's say you have an apple. You cut the apple open and it's nice and white and crisp, and then you leave that apple out on the counter for an extended period of time. What happens to it? It starts to deteriorate, right? It starts turning brown, it starts turning gross. It's no longer an appealing fruit to eat, right? That's what happens to items in the exhibit. It doesn't happen that quickly, but over time, the more you touch an object, the more it will degrade. And so we keep them in cases so that we can have them for longer periods of time to share the stories with you. This has been the St. Augustine Lighthouse and Maritime Museum's Ask an Expert series. Thank you for all the great questions. For more information and how you can get involved, please visit our website at staugustinelighthouse.org.